Hi everyone and welcome to part 3 of the colouring roulette challenge. So if you've not seen part 1 and 2, hop over to the most recent videos on my channel and watch those first. But very basically what we're doing is we are letting a random generator choose our pencils and our colours and doing one of these little emblems every single day. So let's get straight into it and pick our pencils. So today we are going to be using, it looks like the new Chromaflow pencils from Derwent. So these are the ones that I've very recently reviewed. I think they're my most recent review actually, these ones here. They are only available in the US and India at the moment. There's a whole thing around it, but hopefully they'll be coming out in the UK and worldwide very soon. So that is the pencil brand. I'm going to hop across to my other tab and then we will choose 3 colours that I'll be able to work with. So let's give that a spin. First colour is Blue Violet, which we've already used on the previous one. So let's hope we get a bit more of a range of colours this time. Been working with quite a lot of blues. Okay, so we've got pink. So blue and pink is a really nice combination. And then for the third colour, we are looking at, it's Blue Violet again. So I'm going to give it another spin because I really want 3 colours to work with rather than just 2. So we've got yellow, orange. So interesting, we've got pink, yellowy orange, and then a blue violet. Okay, so I'm going to go through the Chromaflow pencils. Now we only have 24 in the set, so we may have to make a couple of decisions on which one exactly is a blue violet or what have you. So let's have a look. So blue violet, I would say the closest we're going to get is going to be one of these, isn't it? So let me just pull these 3 and see what they look like. This is denim, which is really, it's just a dark blue. I would have chosen that for navy if we were going to have navy. So let's try the next one. Violet, which is pretty much a solid purple. And then we've got lilac. So there really isn't a blue violet in here, but I'm going to have to go for that middle one because it's just the closest that I can get really. So we'll do that. So we've got the violet and then pink. So it's either going to be this blush pink or the magenta. Let's have a look. So that's the blush pink, which is more of a coral colour, and then we've got the magenta. So looking at that, the coral is very much a kind of peachy pink, and then you've got the magenta, which is what I would class as a more of a pink. So we're going to go with the magenta. And then for yellow orange, I think this one will be perfect. It's called Amber Gold. Yeah. So it's a bit like a Spanish orange type colour if you're going for Prismacolors. So those are the 3 that we'll be using. That's quite a nice mix of colours. So I'll pop these away and give them a sharpen and we'll get going. Okay, so I've sharpened all 3 of the pencils. Now, having a look at what image we want to colour today, I'm thinking that this potion bottle down here will be really nice because we've got the stars, we've got the yellow for that, and then the mixture of purple and pink will look quite nice, I think. So let's go for that one. I'm going to zoom you in. And this one's quite awkwardly placed, so just give me a sec to try and sort you out, making sure that you can see what we're doing. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to colour those stars in with the Amber Gold. So if you haven't seen my review of the Chromaflow yet, go and have a look if you wish. These are Derwent's latest release, but as I said, they've had very limited release, only to the US and India and Canada, I think. So I think they're doing that for a reason. I think it's probably to test the market. They did reply to one of my viewers and she very kindly shared that reply with us, saying that they are hoping to release them worldwide, but we're not really sure when. So Fingers crossed they do, and I hope that they also expand the range as well, because 24 colours is really not enough, and they could be a serious contender for Prismacolor if they did have, you know, that range that Prismacolor have. So yeah, so I've coloured in the stars, and I'm thinking of doing like a little bit of a glow around them. And what I might do is just very, very lightly create a halo around each star. And then when we come in with our purple and pink, hopefully that will show up quite nicely. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to start by, I think, doing some random splodges of purple just within the bottle. And I don't really want to do it, you know, from the outside in a kind of graduation that way. I just want to do some different patterns within there, so it kind of looks like the potion swirling a little bit. That's what's in my brain anyway. I don't know whether that's going to translate to the paper or not, but we shall see. So yeah, these are really nice pencils to use. They are very similar to a Prisma. As I said in my review, probably not quite as soft, but they're definitely along those lines. If you can get yourself a tin, I'd definitely try them. I do wish they were open stock though, so that, you know, you could give a couple of pencils a try. It's always the best way to do things, I think. So just laying down quite a light layer of the purple pretty much anywhere. There's no rhyme or reason to this, just putting bits here and there. I've had some really good feedback on this series already, actually. A lot of you are enjoying watching it, so I'm really pleased about that. And I hope that it can inspire you in some way to do something different with your colouring and just take it back to basics a little bit, I think. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to come in with the magenta and see if I can blend that out a little bit and create a magical look. So I'm just layering it over the top of the edges of purple. And just trying to keep that halo intact around each star for that glow effect. I'm going to come in and deepen these up a little bit, just once I've got the placement where I want it. I'm just going to leave a little bit of white at the edge as well, to give it that look of glass or 3D, hopefully. There's lots of other tricks we can use for that, but with this being quite a limited challenge, I want to try and do the best I can with what little I've got. Okay, so I think that's pretty much where I'd like the colours to be placed. It's a nice mix there. So I'm going to come back in with the violet and just deepen up those areas, because the first layer is really just to check, you know, that you're putting the colours where you want them to be and that it's going to work, basically, and then you can come in and deepen it up. It's quite nice as well just to commit to one little piece of colouring every day, because you know you've not got a huge page that's looming over you and you've got to, you know, complete this, you know, a lot of detail and a lot of scale. With this, you've just got these small little windows of colouring every day, and with the challenge on top of that as well, I think it just mixes it up a little bit. As I mentioned in the previous video, you can get into a bit of a rut sometimes, and little things like this can really help get you out of that. So I'm back in with the magenta, just deepening up the colour. As you can see, these pencils don't really give off any debris or dust, but they blend really nicely even though they're not crumbly. So just around where that glow is on the stars, I'm just putting a very light layer down of the magenta just so it doesn't look like as harsh a line between where the darker colours are and the stars. There we go. So I have decided, and a couple of you have suggested, that I enable myself to use a white gel pen or a white and a black pencil in addition to the colours that I choose, just to give myself a little bit more of a range with what I can do. So black I can obviously use for shading and white for highlights and things like that. But I think on this one today I'm just going to use a little bit of white gel pen just to maybe put a few dots in the potion bottle, get it looking a bit more sparkly. The thing about challenges like this is that even though you're limiting yourself and that the suggestions are really taken out of your hands, you can add to it and make life a bit easier for you if you want to. There's no rules, so still keeping within the parameters of having everything chosen for you, you can come in with a little bit of white gel pen or a bit of gold gel pen or something just to sparkle it up a bit. There's no rules to follow. So it's just quite nice in that way. So I think that's pretty cute. I'm gonna just go in with that amber gold again and reaffirm those halos a little bit, just around the stars. And then it just gives a bit of a, I don't know whether the camera will pick this up, but you can see it's a bit paler towards the line of the star, and then on the outside where I'm just doing a bit more pressure, it's darker, so it gives even more of a glow look. There we go. So for the cork in the bottle, as we did with the little ship in a bottle, I'm going to try and layer some colours and see if we can get a brown. So this is a violet, and then we've got the yellow, so I'll try and layer those up and see if that gives us a brownish colour. Very, very lightly going over the cork with the violet, and then I'll go over it with the amber gold, and hopefully we'll get a bit of a different shade. I wonder if I put the magenta over what will happen. It's all trial and error. Gone over the lines a bit there. It's a kind of a brown anyway. Maybe not as good as the one we did on the previous one, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I thought for the flowers it might be nice to do those yellow, just to set off the stars a little bit. Now, I don't know whether we could try and do a bit of a magenta orangey blend. Maybe that would work. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to just make the tops of these bellflowers magenta, but I don't want an awful lot of that colour. I just want to keep it towards the top of the, or the bottom of the bell. So I'm going to do it quite hard pressure here, but then very quickly blend it out for the yellow. And don't forget, if you are following along with this and doing something very similar with a challenge, I'd love to see it. You can tag me on Instagram. I've got a Facebook group and Twitter and things like that. Basically, wherever you can find me, if you can tag me, I'd love to see what you've achieved doing some challenges. Okay, so I've got the amber gold and I'm just going to drag the magenta down a little bit. That looks quite nice. I'm just going to work on the line between the two colours so it looks a little bit smoother. It looks nice and glowy, even the flowers look glowy. I'm just leaving a tiny bit of white at the very tips of the flower for contrast. Just bringing the magenta back in to smooth out the transition a little. Okay, that looks quite nice. I think we'll do the same on this one. It almost looks kind of like a flame blend. So I'm going to bring that magenta in the centre of these petals. And then do the same thing. With this being a really small detail, it's quite difficult to get a perfect blend. You're not working in a huge space, but again, it's all about limiting yourself and seeing what can be achieved. Right, so I'm just looking now what we've got left, and we've got leaves. So just thinking of how, because me, you know, being me, I want to make the leaves green, and obviously I can't. Let's just see what happens on a larger scale if I layer these up. So let's put these two colours down. Now I know that blue and yellow obviously make green, but purple isn't that far away from blue, so I'm just seeing what will happen. Yeah, it is really just kind of muddy colour. I don't think that's really going to work. I think the yellow on top of the purple might be the closest we'd get. But yeah, it's still not right. So, I think what I'm going to have to do is just make it completely fantasy and colour the leaves. I think probably colour the leaves purple. maybe I can make a purple magenta blend that will sort of emulate what's going on inside the bottle. So let's do some purple at either end of the leaf and blend it to magenta in the middle. Now I say, you know, I always contradict myself and say there's no rules to this, do whatever, but then I'm sort of very nervous to do anything but the colours that I think leaves should be. So again, it is taking me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I think the end result will be really nice. I think this might be where I bring in that white pencil and just see how that works. So I'm going to use the same Chromaflow brand. Here I've got the white. I'm just making sure that that's not got anything on it that's going to contaminate the colour. So let's just go over the middle of the leaf with the white and see what happens if we get quite a nice smooth blend. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. It's softened the colour out a little bit. Maybe when we bring in the white gel pen we can do some little details and stuff to make it pop a bit more. I'm going to do the same thing on each of the leaves so that they're all uniform. I think it's all about embracing how different it looks as well to what you would normally immediately jump to when you see a leaf or what have you. It's nice to have it taken out of your hands and then just embrace what happens. Yeah, so I'm just going to come in with the violet a little bit just to crispen up those lines. Maybe just add in some magenta to where the white has kind of bleached the colour out a little bit. Just a very light layer just to bring back the pink. So it's keeping it smooth, but we're just increasing the saturation a little bit. As I say, it might not be completely obvious on the camera that this is making any kind of difference, but it really is. It's subtle, but it looks much better. But there is such a thing as overworking, so which I'm very, very guilty of, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Using the violet, I think I'll just do a very, very light bit of pigment on the neck of the bottle, just as I did with the ship in a bottle, just to make that look like it's got a little bit of shading on it. And then I'll also try and smooth it out with the white a little bit. Like I say, very subtle, very, very small thing to do, but it makes a difference. So I'm just adding a little bit of the white around the edge of the bottle. Now we've just got the centre of this flower and these little bits to do. So I think I'm going to get the violet on this one. And probably on these as well, just so we've got a bit of contrast. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my white gel pen. Just give it a little shake, make sure it works. Clean the nib. Alright, so I'm going to put a few little dots and things inside the bottle. I don't think this is cheating as such. I know it's not on the wheel to add these in, but it's quite nice. Might follow that round like that. Then I'm thinking probably just a few little dots and things on the flowers themselves. Just to add a little bit of magic. There we go, I think I'm done. Maybe just a little stripe, little stripe down the edge to show that kind of glass effect. Okay, I'm done. There we go. So this was part 3 of the colouring roulette challenge. Hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I will see you on part 4.